Hello, Spooklings.
I'm Jason,
And I'm Kathy.
and we're the hosts of the weekly podcast, All Hallows Eve Podcast.
We are a husband and wife duo with a passion for anything spooky, macabre, and true crime, sprinkled with our own twist of comedy.
We explore topics such as the history of Halloween, the Butcher of Plainfield, Hocus Pocus 2, urban legends, superstitions, and more.
So come join us as we go down the rabbit hole that is All Hallows Eve Podcast.
Listen and follow us at allhallowsevepodcast.com or your favorite podcast provider.
Stay spooky, my friends.
Hey everybody, welcome to Films and Fermentation, episode 96. That's right, this is episode 96. Tonight we are talking about our favorite narrated films. We are again Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
It all started 3 years ago. 3 friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced decided they were going to make a podcast. It started with an unbelievably crazy first episode and has evolved into this monster that we know that it is today. Films
The
and
dumpster fire.
That dumpster fire it is today. Filled with phony expertise, a lot of belching,
Yes.
And
And a lot.
chlamydians.
and a lot of fucking up things that I already have scripted, but for some reason I don't read my own script. So
Read.
And-
Who reads?
Who
And Leo,
reads?
don't
Who reads?
forget the chlamydians.
I get paid to lead, not to
Not
read.
to read.
In this
You get
episode,
What the fuck?
I get paid triple what you guys get paid.
Twice nothing is still nothing.
I don't know, Mike. I think we should unionize.
Union 69, dude. Ah. In this episode, we look at our favorite movies told from first-person point of view. We're only talking about movies where the narrator is also a character. So partially narrated films like The War of the Worlds reboot or Inglorious Basterds and fourth wall break narrations like Ferris Bueller will not be included in this list. The list is actually broken up into 3 categories tonight: trustworthy narrators, unreliable narrators, and even though I said this is told from the first-person point of view, it's the first-person point of view of a third-person narrator. Whew, that's a mind fuck right there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget to drop us an email, filmsandfermentation@gmail.com, or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. As always, this episode is brought to you by Newsly. This episode of Films and Fermentation is brought to you by Newsly. Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks the most trending articles on the web on topics you choose at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time ever, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. Browse articles from any topic you choose, in sports, technology, business, science, even Bitcoin. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud. The entire web now becomes listenable, all in one place. They also have podcasts. Explore trending podcasts from over 80 countries. Our podcast, Films and Fermentation, is located there as well. We actually started using it recently as our own default podcast app. They even have digital radio. So download and use Newsly for free now from www.newsly.me or from the link provided in the description of this episode. And if you use the promo code ANDFERMENT, that's ANDFERMENT, you can get a 1-month free premium subscription. So download Newsly now. Stop scrolling. Start listening. What are we drinking this evening, gentlemen?
Well, gentlemen, I have finished off the last of the strawberry lemonade Old Smoky whiskey with ginger ale. Sad to see it go, but it's good to have it going.
Kevin, what do you got going on tonight?
Oh, I've dipped into the barrel of spirits Mike provided me with yet again. He had said so much how much he liked munching on pumpkin. I will also be munching on pumpkin, if I can show it. There we go.
Nice.
From Devil's Backbone, and following that, I'll have my O Fest. My O Fest. O Fest.
All right. So I decided to go theme drink tonight. One of the movies on our narrated list tonight is one of my favorite sci-fi films. It is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And in that film, they have a drink that Beeble Brox makes for Ford. So I decided to make that drink. It's called the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster.
Yeah.
Now, whatever they make in the movie is obviously fictitious, but this is an actual drink. So this is vodka, black raspberry liqueur, triple sec, Grand Marnier, cranberry juice, and strawberry juice, or strawberry
That sounds amazing.
Like a strawberry.
It does sound good.
Thing. It has this pinkish hue, as you can see, and even though it's not a beer, I'm drinking it in the beer glass that Mike got me. This beer tastes like I might not be going to work tomorrow. It is kind of strong. And has a little bit of a tart flavor to it, which I'm guessing is probably from the triple sec and the raspberry and all that stuff. But it's pretty good. And as the description says here, and this is the same description they use in the movie, the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster is said to be like having your brain smashed in by a slice of lemon wrapped around a large gold brick.
Don't forget your towel.
Yeah, don't forget your towel. All righty. Mike, any history lessons for us this week?
This day in film history.
So
Looks
I
like the
added the
first one's
first
yours.
fact, so I think I'm going to take that one. Yeah. So this past Sunday was the Screen Actors Guild Award, and Everything Everywhere All at Once won the major award, which was Best Ensemble in a Film. So that means everybody in the film, from Michelle Yeoh to Jamie Lee Curtis, all got Screen Actors Awards, including James Hong, the legendary Chinese actor James Hong, who plays Lo Pan in Big Trouble in Little China, and among millions of other roles that he's had in his career, because the man has appeared in over 460 films and has more on the way.
Sounds like he's particular and choosy.
Yeah,
It was like, we need an Asian actor. Let's get him.
Yeah, let's get him. Legendary actor James Hong, who has appeared in over 460 films in a career that started in 1954, 69 years ago, won his first Screen Actors Guild Award this past Sunday at 94 years old.
Oh shit.
So so 94 is the new 50, I guess.
Yeah, I guess
Better late than never.
They let him come out and give one of the speeches. Obviously the man's earned it, and he goes, "My very first film, I co-starred with Cary Grant," and he says back then they didn't often hire Asian actors for films. They often hired white actors, and they would tie their eyes back, and they would talk with funny accents. And he says because Hollywood didn't believe that Asian actors were profitable. And then he goes, "Look at us now." And I'm like, man, that was a legendary speech. That was awesome.
I thought you were going to say something like he first worked with Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, it could have been. No, his first film was 1954. That's amazing, and the man's still working. I guess he just loves doing it, you know.
Well, I think it was, let's recognize some of the older actors and actresses who, I mean, he wasn't recognized and he should have been, but like F. Murray Abraham, and The White Lotus, he got something too, didn't he?
Yeah, because I think they won the ensemble cast for television or something like that. Yeah. What's your other fact you got there, Mike?
That 1965, one of the most popular musical films of all time, The Sound of Music, starring Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer, premieres. Won the Academy Award for Best Picture in 1966.
Now there's two. Wait. You beat me to it. I was going to say there's two really famous songs in that film. I'm going to count from 3 down to 1. We'll all start singing together and see if we all sing the same song. Okay. But Kevin beat me to it.
Oh, sorry.
Because I was really.
We'll do the second one. Do the second one. You ready?
3, 2, 1.
So
dear, a female. So you had.
Well, that's also
Edelweiss.
Let's pretend that this didn't happen, and we'll just sing "The Hills Are Alive." Ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
The
hills are alive with the sound of monsters. Jesus Christ. Julie Andrews is still alive, and she rolled over in her grave on that one. Mike, do you have a must-try beer or craft destination for us this evening?
I have a must-try beer for us today. It's called Cursed.
Ooh, I like that.
From True Brewing Company, Denver, Colorado. True is
I can see how you can get that confused with Nevada.
Yeah,
yeah, they're close.
I've been drinking a little bit.
Similar climates.
One's right on top of the other. Shit.
No, I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
True has a well-deserved cult following among beer aficionados. They are arcane masters of mixed culture witchery in the craft brewing world. Now that they are packaging their potions, even unannounced can share the mystical arts. The first thing you'll notice when you crack this foreboding flat-back black pint can is the level of carbonation. It's high, like a Belgian triple in a corked bottle high. Next, the aromatics knock you back with some upfront lactic, tartness, and funk. But also woodsy forest, apricot, peach, and lime. It finishes dry and tart, but not overwhelming so. Pale orange and hazy with sediment in the can. This 5.6 alcohol by volume, locally sourced wild American sour is transcendent and complex. Heaven for those in the know.
I like a little funk in my beer.
You like a funk? It is. It's a very black can.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at it on Untapped. It's funny because I typed in Curse and that was the first thing that popped up was True Brewing. It didn't even look for anything else. 11.5 thousand check-ins across the country.
Wow.
And it has an average rating of 3.98 out of 5.
Damn.
It's pretty good for 11,000 people rating it.
Yeah.
It's a mixed culture sour pale ale, and the flavor profile has been described as sour, tart, light, dry, and clean. Sounds good. We'll have to try it when we take the show on the road and we hit Denver. Or Nevada, whichever comes first. Notes from the last show. Notes from the last show are brought to you by Dubby, all-natural energy drink for gamers. Dubby is the perfect all-natural energy drink for gamers because it doesn't give you the jitters. If you'd like to know more about Dubby, visit their website, dubby.gg. Use the promo code FILMSFERMENT and get 10% off your order. Dubby, be better. Dubby.gg. So our synopsis, according to Glip from last week, it was okay. We've had some better ones.
We have.
The participants discussed good impressions of a statue. That was when Mike was trying to play his soundboard and wasn't doing anything, and he just like stopped talking. And Kevin was like, "Good impression of a statue, Mike."
Yeah, I remember that.
Narrators for the documentary. I don't know.
The
existence of movies. The existence of movies came up again.
Again.
Career of a legendary actor. Blazing Sails with Morgan Freeman. And reboot films with Jason Momoa. As always, Clip got it right on the nose.
Right there.
I did say last week that there was a Netflix docu-series I wanted to check out called Checkpoint about video games. I had the name wrong. Checkpoint's a different show. The video game documentary is actually called High Score, which I think makes more sense.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode so far, which kind of talks about the early days of video games. It's pretty good so far, so I definitely want to check out the rest. Because we talk about it so much, Johnny 5 is alive on Tubi right now. Short Circuit has been brought to Tubi streaming service, which is free. So if you feel like rewatching Short Circuit,
no disassemble.
You can now check it out on Tubi. All Hallows Eve reminder. Remember, folks, that we are going to be appearing on the All Hallows Eve podcast at the end of March. I got the date right here. Hold on. So we are recording with them. We're recording with them on March 25th. To the episode will be dropping on March 27th. So we'll actually be dropping our own new episode that day as well. So you'll have double feature, double the Films and Fermentation, folks, because you'll have a brand new Films and Fermentation episode. That'll be episode 99.
Wait a minute, we're going to be the Doublemint twins. Double your pleasure, double your fun.
Double your pleasure, double your friend. And there's 6 of us, so that's more like triple your pleasure.
You guys will you all will be able to hear how socially awkward we are with strangers.
Yeah.
No, Kevin, you don't understand. Kathy is trying to get out of it.
Yeah, so it's Jason and Kathy are the hosts of the show. Kathy's like, well, since you got these guys coming on and they like movies, I don't have to watch this horror film. I don't have to do this show. And he's like, oh no, you're going to watch this fucking movie and you're going to do the show. So we look forward to it. It'll be fun. I mean, we weren't that awkward when we had people on our show.
And Jason's expecting drinking. Okay, guys.
Jason is expecting us to be a little.
Would you like a gummy bear? It's warm because it's been in my pocket. You know.
I thought you were offering me like a special gummy.
Edible.
Yeah, Jason.
Hey, we're in New Jersey. It's not taboo anymore. We can talk about it.
I get emails about it all the time, and I've never had an edible in my life.
No.
Yeah.
But Jason from the show is like, yeah, he goes, I expect there to be some drinking, so I think we have to live up to our name.
Yes. All right.
And lastly, I'd like to wish a happy 1-year podiversary to Chris and Deb from Today We Laughed and Learned podcast. Their 1-year anniversary episode will be dropping next week. It'll be episode 50 for them. I went on Anchor the other night and I recorded a congratulations message to them on our behalf. So when you hear the episode, you'll hear my little congratulations to them. I told them congratulations on a whole year of laughing and learning.
Did you do it in that very Marilyn Monroe? Happy anniversary.
Today we laughed and learned. All right.
Gentlemen.
One little piece of good news here. We had the 4th most listened to episode of the week on Good Pods this week with our Morgan Freeman episode. What were you going to say, Mike?
Well, I've already slammed this down. I need another drink. Give me a minute.
So we'll be right back with our main segment after these words from Today We Laughed and Learned and the Fandalorians.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Deb.
And we host a pretty fun podcast called Today We Laughed and Learned. You know, this is where we discuss all the things we should have learned, but, well, never did. And we have quite a few laughs along the way.
Today We Laughed and Learned with Chris and Deb.
We're curious about everything. Experts on nothing.
Come find us wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, everybody. Let me ask you a question. When you were a kid, did you ever wonder what teachers talked about in the teacher's lounge?
You probably didn't miss much. It's usually boring stuff like grading papers, lesson planning, and then figuring out the new train schedule.
Train schedule?
Well, I teach in the city.
But sometimes, at one of the not-so-cool tables in the back of the teacher's lounge, you might find us, the Fandalorians, teachers by day, nerds by night.
My name is Mr. Richardson, and by day, Mr. McDonald, Mr. G, and I teach and inspire America's youth.
But by night, we debate, discuss, and argue about all things in the pop culture universe on our podcast.
We discuss all the biggest pop culture topics in the world, like Ozark, Stranger Things, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Marvel, Star Wars, Top Gun Maverick, The Old Man, Bridgerton, you name it, we'll probably discuss it.
You guys watch Bridgerton?
Yo, season 1 of Bridgerton was awesome. You don't know what you're missing. Since we are teachers, you will always get a ton of background information about our topics and original teacher-themed segments, like our pop culture morning announcements, building meetings, and post-observation reviews of shows and movies. Oh, and arguing. You'll get lots of disagreements and arguing, like way more than I'm comfortable with.
You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just search for The Fandalorians, Teachers by Day, Nerds by Night.
Then join us every Monday as we look into the current state of fandom and pop culture.
Hey, look, the bell's about to ring. We need to head to the buses. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Well, I mean, they're not going to see us because this is a podcast.
I know.
But they can't even see us when you think about it, so they won't see us either.
Oh my God, you know what I meant. It wasn't literal. Just ring the bell. Ring the bell.
The Fandalorians, Teachers by Day, Nerds by Night. I hope you listen and subscribe to us soon.
I hate you guys.
Welcome, everybody, back to Films and Fermentation, episode 96. Right? Did I say that at the beginning? Yeah, it's episode 96.
Mhm.
Episode 96.
How
I've been
much
drinking
you
a
had
lot.
to drink, Lee?
I'm drinking a Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster.
Naturally.
Say that 5 times fast after you've drank a Pan-Galactic
Gargle Blaster.
So tonight we're looking at our favorite film narrations. So again, with this, we didn't really do like a top 10 list or anything like that. We just kind of picked out some movies that we're fans of that have excellent narration.
And Leo went crazy on it.
I went crazy. I always do.
Mm-hmm.
Narration isn't always a good thing in films. And there are some films that don't need narration. I think a lot of like some of the superhero films that have narration at the beginning as a way of expositing things that you need to know. Like that's just that kills me. I hate that. But every now and then a movie comes along that has some excellent narration that not only tells you more about the characters, but does an excellent job of explaining what you're watching without making it seem like they're patronizing you. And for the first one, of course, I had to go with my all-time favorite, Morgan Freeman as Red in Shawshank Redemption. I should mention that we split this into 3 categories: trustworthy narrators, unreliable narrators, which is really popular. I found so many unreliable narrators while researching. It was really hard to find trustworthy narrators. And then we also have third-party narrators, characters who are narrating a story for us but are kind of outside the main characters of the film. So we're going to take a look at some trustworthy narrators first, and I definitely think that Morgan Freeman as Red in Shawshank is a trustworthy narrator.
I don't know. He's a criminal.
Yeah. But he's the only guilty criminal in Shawshank.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
He's a criminal who's done his time and wants to go back and talk to that young stupid kid and tell him what an idiot he was and all that stuff. And we already talked about this last week when we did the Morgan Freeman episode, that there's so many good lines from this film, particularly within his narration, even outside of like the character dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Things like I had to keep reminding myself that some birds weren't meant to be caged. Their feathers are just too bright. That's a great fucking line.
Yeah.
And that prick seemed a big magnanimous that day.
Yeah. As he hunkered in the shade with a little smile on his face while he drank his beer.
40 years I've been asking permission to piss. Can't squeeze a drop without say so.
That's a great one too. I like the one the night that it's Andy's last night in prison before he breaks out. and he's worried that he's gonna Andy's gonna kill himself.
Mhm.
So he's like, that was there've been plenty of long nights in prison. That night was the longest night of my life.
Mhm.
So I mean,
I like the one where he's
Right.
talking about the warden committing suicide.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that the last thing that went through his head,
Warden head aside
other
from
than
that
the
bullet,
bullet, that was
Or
how
when
the hell did Andy
when he's
Dufresne
talking about
ever get the best of him?
I wasn't there to see it, but I heard Captain Hadley sob like a little girl as they took him away.
Andy Dufresne swam through 3 football fields of shit. Came out clean on the other side.
Crawled through a tunnel of shit smelling foulness I don't even want to imagine. I hope the Pacific is as blue as it is in my dreams. It's just it's narration like that builds characters, and that's why it's such good narration. So I'm gonna throw another one out there because Morgan Freeman. I try not to do too many repeats, but it's hard with like Morgan Freeman not to like throw a couple more in there. So I have
It's
him
not
as
like we covered him.
yeah. I have him as Eddie Scrap Iron Dupree in $1 Million Baby. I think it gets kind of lost in the shuffle that he narrated that film. And he was telling a story of Clint Eastwood's character and Hilary Swank's character as an outside observer, but he narrates the film. And one of my favorite pieces of narration in it is everybody's got a particular number of fights in them, and nobody tells you what that number is. Because for Hilary Swank, it ends very early in the film for her.
Yeah.
The third one I have on my list, I just rewatched this the other night, just for the hell of it. I don't know why I saw it on. I don't remember what streaming service it was on, but I saw it was there, and I was like, "Fuck, I haven't watched this. I have to watch it." I watch it like once a year, I think, and that's Stand By Me, and that is of course Richard Dreyfuss as the adult Gordy LaChance, which is the Will Wheaton character, narrating the book he's writing. And it's been so long. It's weird. Like I watched the opening scene, and like I feel like I must skip the opening scene all the time or something. Like I must pick it up from a certain point because the opening scene tells you what happens to River Phoenix's character before you even get to the end of the movie.
Yeah, but I don't think he names him by name.
No, you see him sitting in a car, Richard Dreyfuss, and he's got a newspaper next to him, and it says lawyer killed in knife fight or something like that, and it's referring to Chris Chambers, the River Phoenix character, and that's what sparks him to write this book about when he was 12 years old. And then I struggle with this. Like I'm like, is he a narrator, an unreliable narrator, or a trustworthy narrator?
Well, he's going off his memory, so
he's going off his memory.
To him, it's all true.
Yeah, so I mean, it could be unreliable a little bit, but I feel for the most part, it's real.
Right. It's yeah. That's like you going back telling your stories,
I embellish a little bit.
As long as you weren't drinking when you were doing it, we can be reliable there.
So I like this isn't really part of the narration. It's him typing on the computer, and it's like you never really had the kind of friends you had when you were 12. Goddamn, who does?
Yeah.
Or when he's talking about
I heard sick balls.
Sick balls.
It happens sometimes. Friends come in and out of your life like busboys in a restaurant. That's a good analogy.
That's a fucking great line. That's awesome. And then right after that, he starts telling you the tale of like what happens to the friends, and it's like Vern became the forklift operator and had 4 kids. And then Teddy DeChamp didn't get into the army because of his ear and his eyes. He spent some time in prison, and then last I heard, he's doing odd jobs around Castle Rock. And then he tells the story of Chris Chambers, fighting his way through the classes and becoming a lawyer and successful, and unfortunately getting killed in a he wasn't even in the fight; he was breaking the fight up. Pretty sad. But yeah, that's a I love Stand By Me, man. It's definitely like a movie I kind of watch. I think I watch it once a year. And then another movie, kind of the same vein, even though this one is more a comedy, and that's The Sandlot. So now David Mickey Evans as adult Scotty Smalls. David Mickey Evans is also the screenwriter.
The
of
director
Sandlot,
too, yeah.
and the director. So he's playing basically himself as a kid. And another one where it's like he's kind of an unreliable narrator, but then at the end he explains all of the truths, and that's why I considered him a trustworthy narrator. Because then you find out, who the guy is in the house after all, and that the dog really isn't a beast; it's just a dog, and all the truths come out at the end.
Well,
That was the
he's
summer
also telling it from a kid's point of view.
Yeah, that was
That's why
the
you have
summer
the
I got
monster.
into the biggest pickle we ever got ourselves in. My mom, an adult girl, knew who Babe Ruth was. That's like pouring salt in a wound. Then I have Gene Shepard as adult Ralphie in Christmas Story.
You guys can talk about that one.
Mike's not a big Christmas Story guy.
No,
I love Christmas Story.
Yeah,
I think he's great. I think just it's how it's woven into the story and the emphasis in the lines that he delivers. When he falls over thinking he shot his eye. Oh, I'm sorry. Spoiler alert for you there, Mike. He thinks he shoots his eye out, right?
I know the story.
Are you familiar? Little boy wants a BB gun.
Yeah. And he wears pink bunny pajamas.
BB gun with pink bunny pajamas and a BB gun, and he goes out after zombies.
And Santa Claus kicks him down the slide.
Yeah.
And he gets his tongue stuck on the pole. For being triple dog
zombie. Right.
I'll tell you what one of my favorite pieces of narration in that is. It's when the dad gets the leg lamp, Fragile from Italy.
Fragile.
And he puts it up in the window, and Ralphie can't stop staring at it. he says, there's only one thing in the world that could have dragged me away from the soft glow of electric sex gleaming in the window. And that's the Red Ryder rocket. Red Rocket, whatever the gun's called that he wants. Oh man, I'm trying to think if there's any other like really really good ones from
it's
a lot of it's like describing like the father especially.
Aunt Clara had labored for years under the delusion that I was not only perpetually 4 years old but also a girl.
And that's the pink bunny costume. He looks like a pink nightmare.
Yeah. And it's iconic when you say, you'll shoot your eye out, You hear that and everybody knows what movie you're talking about.
You shoot your eye out, kid.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
The next one I have on here is another one where like I was trying not to use too many of the same person, but it's hard not to include two Kevin Spacey films on this list because one's American Beauty and the other one's Usual Suspects. So it's like hard not to, and I kind of split it by saying that his character in American Beauty is kind of a reliable narrator. He kind of mixes between reliable and unreliable. But I picked him mainly because I love his opening monologue in the film. The camera's zooming in on the neighborhood, zooming in, descending slowly down this little tree-lined suburban street, and then his voiceover comes in as you get this idyllic setting in the background. And he goes, my name is Lester Burnham. This is my neighborhood. This is my street. This is my life. I'm 42 years old. In less than a year, I'll be dead. And so you get like in the opening monologue of the film, you get the fact that he's telling you his story from beyond the grave. And it's really interesting. And then it's like, of course, I don't know that yet. And in a way, I've been dead already.
Remember those posters that said today is the first day of the rest of your life? Well, it's true every day except one, the day you die. Yeah.
Look at me, jerking off in the shower. This will be the high point of my day. Like it's a fucked up movie, man. Such a fucked up movie. And then I thought it was funny that the last two I have on the trustworthy list are father and son. So we got in Vietnam films. So we got Martin Sheen as Captain Benjamin Willard in Apocalypse Now, and Charlie Sheen as Chris Taylor in Platoon. And so I looked up a quote from what do you call Apocalypse Now that I thought was a good one here, and it's this is one of his moments of narration in the film. He says, everyone gets everything he wants. I wanted a mission, and for my sins they gave me one. Brought it up to me like room service. It was a real choice mission, and when it was over, I never wanted another. Because his mission then is to go find Colonel Kurtz, played by Marlon Brando,
and eliminate him.
And eliminate him,
with extreme prejudice. I liked his narration in that movie because a lot of his narration gave you the mood of what the scene was like.
Mm-hmm. So, like in a war, there are many moments of compassion and tender action. There are many moments for ruthless action. What is often called ruthless, what may in many circumstances be only clarity, seeing clearly what there is to be done and doing it directly, quickly, awake, looking at it. Mm-hmm. They're kind of like how they kind of turn off their emotions in those really violent moments.
Yep.
And then that leads us to Charlie Sheen in Platoon, which is a much different narration.
Most of his narration is writing this letter to his mom till the end of the movie.
It's writing letters to his grandmother, actually.
His grandmother.
His parents got angry at him for joining the war because he's a rich kid. So his is like more introspective and like grandma, I think I made a mistake coming here, kind of shit. Like, too late now, kid. You're there.
Was the movie Hot Shots where it's a scene of both of their boats passing by each other on a river? They're both Charlie Sheen's on one, Martin Sheen's on another. It's got to be Hot Shots.
It's got to be Hot Shots because that's.
And it's like they're passing by and they look at each other and they're both doing voiceover work as the two ships are approaching. And they look and they go, "I loved you on Wall Street."
Yeah, I'll have to look it up and see because it's what one it probably is. It's probably Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah,
because the second one is where he does the Rambo parody. Which would explain why he's in Vietnam. I'll have to look that up. That's funny. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Believe it or not, I saw that in the movies.
Did you?
Hot Shots Part 2. I saw Loaded Weapon in the movies too. I had a thing for the Sheen family back in the 90s.
You also saw Men at Work.
Saw Men at Work. I didn't see that in the movies, but I did see Men at Work. And then that takes us to our unreliable narrator list. An unreliable narrator, of course, is a narrator who kind of tells you what they want you to know, doesn't necessarily give you all the information, or is in a situation where you can't exactly trust what they're saying. For example, Henry Hill in Goodfellas, played by Ray Liotta. Ever since I can remember, all I ever wanted to be was a gangster. I mean, that's probably the most honest thing he says in the rest of the movie. Because then you get to the point where he's on drugs, and it's like, what are you trusting at that point?
I think the other honest point he said in the movies at the end when he ordered spaghetti and marinara sauce, and he got egg noodles and ketchup.
Yeah, I'm just an everyday schmuck.
Oh.
Here's one of my favorite quotes from the film. It's one of the scenes where you're walking into like a restaurant or something, and he introduces you to all the gangsters, and it's like there's Jimmy and Tommy and me, and then there was Anthony Stabile and Angelo Seppi and Fat Andy, Frankie the Wop, Freddie No Nose, Pete the Killer, Nicky Blanda, Mickey Frances, and Johnny Echoes, who got that nickname because he said everything twice. You want to go get the papers? Get the papers.
The papers.
And there's actually a split narration in that film because they also switched to Karen Hill at times.
Yes.
I forgot about her.
Maureen Bracco does a little bit of narration in the film as well. Like when she's talking about the wedding, and it's like everybody was named Peter and Paul or Marie and Maria. It's a classic. This is another one of those where like the voiceover is just perfect. Everything's done right. So Paulie took over the restaurant. Now the guy has to come up with Paulie's money every week, no matter what. Business bad? Fuck you, pay me. You had a fire? Fuck you, pay me. The place got hit by lightning? Fuck you, pay me.
You, pay me.
Also, Paulie can do anything, especially run up the bills on the joint's credit. Why not? Nobody's going to pay for it anyway. Such a great
Food's
fucking
come in the
movie.
front door. We took it right out the back.
Yeah. And then I was looking for the one. There's a really good one of Karen where she's talking about the FBI agents that come to the house. And she's like, I usually just offer them coffee and let them do their thing. All they're looking for is a handout. Jimmy's wife spits on the floor when they walk in. I mean, she spits on her own floor. Who does that?
Does that?
So then my next unreliable narrator is Casino, which is multiple narrators again. It's funny. It's another Scorsese film, another De Niro, Pesci, film. But this time you get 3 narrators because you get Joe Pesci, you get Sharon Stone, and you get Robert De Niro at various times in the film. And I always found it weird that Joe Pesci's character is narrating his own death scene. He gets beaten to death and he's narrating it. But for me, the best line of narration in that film is De Niro as H. Rothstein talking about the casino and how it works. And he's like, in Vegas, everybody's got to watch everybody else. Since the players are looking to beat the casino, the dealers are watching the players. The boxmen are watching the dealers. The floor men are watching the boxmen. The pit bosses are watching the floor men. The shift bosses are watching the pit bosses. The casino manager is watching the shift manager. And the eye in the sky watches everyone. Or at the end when he talks about how Vegas went from being like, a place for mobsters and high class people to like, Disney World. What else we got here? De Niro as Travis Bickle and Taxi Driver. I didn't realize I had De Niro on here so many times.
3 in a row.
But this is more like, Taxi Driver. Fucked up movie, man. I mean, everybody knows. Everybody knows the "You Talking to Me" scene, but they forget the fact that he narrates it too, and a lot of it is him driving around at night in his cab, talking about the city and how much of a cesspool it is, and it's basically him breaking down and deciding that he's going to be a vigilante, because he has things like, "I see it clearly now. My whole life was pointed in one direction. I see that now. There's never been any other choice for me." And then that's where he starts like, shaving his head into a mohawk, picking up guns and killing pimps.
Excuse me.
And the thing that makes him so unreliable in this is because when you get to the end of the film, you're not sure if it actually happened or not.
You don't know if he's nuts or not.
You don't know if it'll happen in his head, I think one of the most fucked up scenes in that movie is he gets Sybil Shepherd to go out on a date with him, and he takes her to a porn theater. It's so nuts. Speaking of nuts, Ed Norton in Fight Club.
Oh, I love this.
So
I have Jackson Flame's sense of rejection.
There's a line that hits me all the time because I have problems with insomnia, and it's when you have insomnia, you're never really asleep. You're never really awake either. There's so many good things. It's weird though because it's hard to like figure out like when he's actually narrating and when he's talking with other characters, because they only refer to him as the narrator in the film. Like that's his character's name. I mean, even though we know that he and Tyler Durden.
Whoa!
Oh, spoiler,
guys! Come on.
But if you haven't seen it by now.
I am Jack's complete lack of surprise. I am Jackson Flame's sense of rejection.
It's Tyler My Bad Dream or My Tyler's. I love this one. Hold on for a second. I gotta find it. It's if I had a tumor, I'd name it Maria. I can't recall whether or not. I think that was the narrator, like a narration, not him saying it to him.
Yeah. It's like I said, like it's confusing at times to figure out like when he's talking about himself and when he's talking about Tyler. I'm all alone. My father dumped me. Tyler dumped me. I'm Jack's broken heart. My favorite line though in the film is from Helena Bonham Carter. where she's like, I haven't been fucked like that since grade school. So the original line was, after they have sex, she rolls over in the bed and she goes, I want to have your abortion.
Mm.
And the studio was like, nope, can't use it.
That's too
Can't say
much.
that.
Too much.
Too much. We got to change that line. So they changed it to that one, and the studio left it in. And then after screening it, the studio was like, can you put the abortion line back in?
Nope, can't do it.
Can't do it.
You blew it.
Yeah, but isn't grade school different in the UK than it is
Yes,
for us?
Helena Bonham Carter didn't know what she was actually saying when she said it, because grade school means something different in England. Like, she didn't realize she was saying elementary school, basically.
I love this part too. Everywhere I travel, tiny life. Single serving sugar, single serving cream, single pat of butter, the microwave cordon bleu hobby kit, shampoo, conditioner combo, sample packages, mouthwash, tiny bars of soap. The people I meet on each flight, they're single serving friends.
I love the scene where he beats the shit out of himself.
Yeah.
The next one is another Kevin Spacey character. It's Verbal Kint in The Usual Suspects. This is like the dictionary definition of unreliable narrator. When you find out that he's not even the person that they think he is, he's basically the guy they've been looking for the whole time.
Who is
Who was making up the story. And it's one of the greatest reveals in film history when Agent Coulion, played by Chaz Palminteri, sees all the shit on the cork board and realizes that he was making up all the stories the whole time. Such a great review. It's one of the movie twists that I wish I can forget so I can go back and watch it again. Be surprised all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Bless you. Malcolm McDowell is Alex DeLarge in A Clockwork Orange.
Did you know that movie was actually rated R, rated X?
Mm-hmm. It was banned for a while. In England, it was banned for like ever. Like they wouldn't show that anywhere. It's only recently been released. When it was shown in America, it was heavily edited.
Still with an X rating.
It's still with an X rating, but I mean, it's a brutal movie. I mean, it's a brutal. I read the book and I've seen the movie, and both are really brutal. Because a lot of his quoting has to do with like his love of violence and how violence makes him feel important and all that stuff. And then it's also the language that they use, because a lot of it's made up.
Yeah.
Oh, bliss in heaven. Oh, it was a gorgeousness and gorgiosity made flesh. It was like a bird of rarest spun heaven metal, or like silvery wine flowing in a spaceship. Gravity all nonsense now. As I stooshied, I knew such lovely pictures. He's talking about watching violence in a movie. And then, of course, they get to the point where they try to recondition them. And they force them to watch videos that try to keep him from, being wicked and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I was cured, all right. And then I have a little cheat one here, because I always said I wasn't doing fourth wall break narration, but it's hard to say that Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Deadpool 1 and 2 is not, a little bit narration mixed with the fourth wall break stuff. You think about the opening scene of Deadpool, where it's like, my boyfriend took me to this movie because he said it's a romance, but he just fucking stabbed that guy like a shish kebab. After all, this film is a romance. Now, my favorite bit of narration is
Wham!
It's Wham! Is Deadpool 2 at the very end of the film, as they're walking away after defeating the villain, and he's like, "What do you get when you mix a dash of diabetes, a little bit of racism, a shit ton of cancer? You get a family." I gotta fucking find it. It's one of my favorite lines. Zip it, Thanos. All right, hold on. Oh, fuck, there's so many quotes. Jesus. You're welcome, Canada.
So, what do you call the end of Deadpool 1 when he does the fourth wall break, but he does it as Ferris Bueller's fourth wall break?
That's a 16th wall break.
Is it?
That's a wall
Yes,
break
it's-
within a cameo within a wall break.
Yeah, it's squared. So
Mind blown.
They're not sure. They don't have like the. I can't find his fucking narration on here. It's just actual like film quotes.
Lines.
I want to find the one where he says, you know, that's what makes us family. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, Kevin and I are good at killing dead air.
Yeah, Christian Bale is Patrick Bateman in American Psycho.
It's so long since I've seen that one. Shit.
it's been a long time.
It's
for
been a
me,
long
too.
time since I've seen it too, but I have a quote that I pulled up from it. I have all the characteristics of a human being: blood, flesh, skin, hair, but not a single clear, identifiable emotion except for greed and disgust. Something horrible is happening inside of me, and I don't know why. My nightly bloodlust has overflown into my days. I do not wish for a better world for anyone. He's another one that's like, it's unreliable because at the end you're not sure if it actually happened or if it was all in his head again.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me doesn't really like those kinds of like endings though.
No, because there's no closure. You
No.
know.
Yeah.
Like I like to think he really was fucked up and killing people with an axe.
He was very tidy about it.
Well, yeah.
Oh, here's one of my Deadpool quotes. Family was always an F word to me. I'll come back to it again. I don't want you guys to have to be scared about filling up that air.
So we have Leonardo DiCaprio as Jordan Belfort, and
Mhm.
Wolf of Wall Street.
I fucking love this movie.
Well,
It's not a movie that really you should admire.
No, not in any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But it's such a fun movie. It's so crazy in its debauchery that it's like hard to not like just like it a little bit. I mean, a lot of the movie though too is like the best parts of the movie to me are a lot of the Jonah Hill stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The movie itself is it's so fucking crazy. You can watch me, mock me, try to block me, but you cannot stop me. Fall in love with the person who enjoys your madness, not an idiot who forces you to be normal. Man, it's all. I mean, I was making $49 million, which really pissed me off because it was $3 million shy of $1 million a week. I'll say one of my favorite lines in the movie. It's not a line of narration. It's a line from Matthew McConaughey when he goes to work for him for the first at the beginning of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "How the fuck else are you supposed to do this job? Cocaine and hookers, my friend. How many times you jerk off a day?" He's like, "What?" He's like, "How many times you jerk off in a day?" And he's like, I don't know, maybe once a day, maybe not." And he goes, "I jerk off at least 2 times a day. Those are rookie numbers, son. You got to get those numbers up. You got to get the tension out." And then Matthew McConaughey is a sick bastard in this film. Oh my god, it was obscene in the real world, but who the fuck wanted to live in the real world? The only thing standing between you and your goal is the bullshit story you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it. If I had to choose between being rich and being poor, I'd choose rich every fucking time. There's a great scene. Rob Reiner plays Leonardo DiCaprio's dad in the film,
Mm-hmm.
and they bring him on to be like the accountant. And there's a scene where he comes bursting into the office, and it's DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, and a couple of the other guys, and he's like, $42,000, Jordan. $42,000 on a fucking lunch. What the fuck are you eating? And he's like, well, we had a lot of stuff. And he's like, and he points to Jonah Hill. He's like, yeah, you ordered the appetizers. He's like, yeah, that's right. We ordered the appetizers. And Rob Reiner's like, $42,000 worth of fucking appetizers? What they do? Cure cancer? And Jonah Hill goes, yeah, they did. They cured cancer. That's why they were so expensive. Such a fucked up movie, man. You show me a stub for $72,000, I quit my job and work for you right now. Then one of my favorite films, because it's just such a sentimental film. Yeah, Albert Finney as Ed Bloom in Big Fish. Another
It's a good
quintessential
movie.
unreliable narrator because he's basically embellishes his entire life.
He's the teller of tall tales.
He's the teller of tall tales. But the thing that's so heartfelt about it is then at the end is you see that all these people that he was telling stories about were real people.
Mm-hmm.
He's just telling embellished stories about how he met them and who they were. But then these real people show up at his funeral at the end, and it's kind of it's poignant.
I saw something. I was looking this up.
Thank you.
What were you looking up?
Big Fish.
Okay.
Something I saw. Was Big Fish really just Forrest Gump in disguise?
Fuck no, I hate Forrest Gump. I like Big Fish.
Surprised Forrest Gump wasn't on one of the lists.
We'll save Big Fish for another day, though, since we're going to be doing a little Tim Burton later this month anyway. So
yeah,
we can talk about Big Fish some more then. The next one I have on my list is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Never saw this one.
You've never seen this one? Oh my god!
God.
It's not even like I would say it's a fever dream, but that's going light on it. So Johnny Depp, his character in the film is not named Hunter S. Thompson. He has a different name, but it's basically the journalist Hunter S. Thompson that he's playing. Mm-hmm. And his best friend is his lawyer, played by Benicio del Toro. His lawyer's name is Dr. Gonzo. And they're riding in a convertible to Las Vegas. I don't even remember like why they're going. It's just like the plot's so nonsensical. But a lot of it has to do with the fact that they take a lot of drugs along the way. Like Hunter S. Thompson was not afraid to try things. And so one of my favorite quotes is this one here. They're talking about preparing for their road trip. And he says, we had 2 bags of grass, 75 pellets of mescaline, 5 sheets of high-powered blotter acid, a salt shaker half full of cocaine, a whole galaxy of multicolored uppers, downers, screamers, and laughers, a quart of tequila, a quart of rum, a case of Budweiser, a pint of raw ether, and 2 dozen amyls. Not that we needed all that for the trip, but once you get locked into a serious drug situation, the tendency is to push it as far as you can. And so as they're driving into Vegas, they're on like the road driving to Vegas, and they're pumping all this shit into their system as they're driving in. He's like, it's starting to hit you when the bats arrive. And then these like hallucinatory bats just start attacking them. And they're fucking swerving all over the place. It's like it's so fucked up. It's such a fucked up movie. One of Johnny Depp's better performances, though.
Oh yeah,
it's a typical like strange Johnny Depp, but it's like strange Johnny Depp when he's not being directed by Tim Burton. So it's like,
well, I mean, this is what, Terry Gilliam, right?
It's Terry Gilliam, so that's strange enough as it is there.
Yeah.
Now Kevin added this one. It's been a while since I've seen this one, so I'm not sure either. It's Denzel Washington as Hobbs and Fallen.
Right. So I was thinking about it, and the narration it's the big reveal towards, I guess, the end. But it does start off, it's a circular movie, starts off at the end, starts back over, and then leads you back to the end where the big reveal comes in. And, I mean, I guess it's been out for a while, so I could tell you, like, it's the...
Spoilers.
Spoiler alert. It's the demon, At first, you think you're hearing it from the detective's point of view and how he's investigating all these things, and there's a demon being transferred by touch from person to person. And then the movie continues, and it gets all the way back to the end where he's trying to extinguish the demon so that he can't go to anybody else, isolating him. And then you find out at the end, he is the demon,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, because I had originally had Morgan Freeman for 7, but his narration is only the very, very end of the film.
Right. And I wasn't quite sure with this because it's bookended,
Mm-hmm. So that takes us to the last part of this, which is third-person narrators. We'll go pretty quickly through this one, I think. The first one I have is Sam Elliott as the stranger in The Big Lebowski. And I have one quote here. "The dude abides. I don't know about you, but I take comfort in that. It's good knowing he's out there, the dude, taking her easy for all of us sinners." So in this case, you're getting your narrator who is not a part of the story, but is telling us about the story. Sometimes you eat the bear. Hell, sometimes the bear eats you.
Well, shit.
Well, shit. Peter Falk is the grandfather in The Princess Bride.
You don't want me to talk about that part anymore. Prince Humperdinck.
Prince Humperdinck and Princess Buttercup. Anchorman, you have Bill Curtis as Bill Lawson, the narrator of the film. Let me tell you.
I should talk about that one.
Let me tell you about the legend of Ron Burgundy. Either of you guys see Idiocracy before?
I had.
No, I have not.
It's with Luke Wilson. He gets cryogenically frozen or something and wakes up in the future where everybody is an idiot. Like, he's the smartest man on earth by default because everybody else's IQs are so low.
Oh, Jesus.
But the movie is narrated by a commentator. I don't know the person's name, but he narrates it sort of like an NFL style broadcast.
Well, Terry Crews ends up being the president.
Terry Crews is the president. Yeah.
Boy.
What's his name? It's like Hector Camacho, something Hernandez Anderson, something like that. The Royal Tenenbaums, one of the early Wes Anderson films, was narrated by Alec Baldwin. Did you remember that, Kev?
I didn't know.
I know you're a Tenenbaum fan.
I am a Tenenbaum fan. I am a Wes Anderson fan too. And he's not typical for a Wes Anderson movie, is he?
No, not.
He's not one of his go-to cast.
It's funny because like Tenenbaums, when you look at it now, it's not really. Most of the cast isn't his cast, other than like maybe the Wilsons. It's like you never seen Ben Stiller in another one. You never saw
Tilda Swinton,
Paltrow in another one. You never saw Hackman in another one. Danny Glover's never been in another one.
No.
And the only ones are like the Wilson brothers,
Ed Norton
and Tilda Swinton. You know, and Jason Schwartzman. Those are like his go-tos. And then later on, you had like Bill Murray got added to the mix and all that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite films, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, narrated by Stephen Fry as the hitchhiker, as the guide, the voice of the guide.
The book.
Don't
panic. It is literally the book narrating the movie.
The book. The book is narrating the film, yeah.
Goodbye and thanks for all the fish.
So long. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I love Hitchhiker's Guide.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. I don't know which is funnier, the book or the robot.
See, the book's great just because it's like it gives you such like funny like background on things that are hard to understand in the film. The robot's great just because it's Alan Rickman's voice.
A magically depressed
robot.
Not
that anyone cares.
Not that anyone cares.
There is a theory that states that if anyone discovers exactly what the universe is for and why it is here, it will instantly disappear and be replaced by something even more bizarre and inexplicable. There is another theory which states that this has already happened. The ship hung in space much the same way as bricks don't. Just then, as improbable as ever, a bowl of petunias and a whale appeared out of nowhere. Oh, this is what was going through the whale's head as it was falling to Earth. Oh, that thing's coming up at me pretty fast. It's so round. It's ound. It's like an ound word. Ground. I'm going to call it ground. I hope it's friends with me. What was going through the Petunia's head at the time? Oh, no. Not again.
Not again. No one knows why that was going through the Petunia's head.
Some say the creation of the Earth was a big mistake. And he got Charles Gray as the criminologist in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
He's the man with no neck. Where's his fucking neck?
Yeah, like if you're going to be somebody who's particular about the Rocky Horror Picture Show, it's going to be hard to separate the quotes from the film to the quotes from the midnight shows.
That's very true. But he is the man with no neck.
I'm just a sweet transvestite.
Vestite.
From transsexual Transylvania.
Yeah.
Let's see if we could get any quotes from the criminologist. That's probably a hard one to find quotes for.
Sure.
Even though he's the narrator. Janet, damn it. It's just a jump to the left. He narrates the songs in the film.
He does. He does know a lot of that, yes.
It's just a jump to the left.
Light.
And then a step to the right. And then the last one we have here, Kevin and I were talking about this in pre-show, Mike, because we weren't sure. So the movie Stranger Than Fiction is about a man played by Will Ferrell whose life is being narrated to him because his life is being written as a book. And the author of the book is Emma Thompson, who is narrating the book that he's living. But then you find out that he's real, and the book she's writing is about his life.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't like so. And there's some like weird way that it ties all together. But she's like, he hears her narrating.
He hears her narrating his life, but she is a character in the movie. She's a real person. He is, I guess, a real person.
So he thinks he's going crazy because he hears her voice in his head.
Right, and his entire life has been her. Right,
and then I think the book she's writing now is about his death.
Right,
and so he's like
she's killing him off,
trying to find out, you know who she is and why he hears her voice and all that. So I guess she's kind of a third-person narrator,
it's
even though
very
she's a
meta.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Very,
it's hard.
Very meta.
Yeah, I think that could be a whole different show. Meta narration.
Mm-hmm.
It's very meta.
So that's another reason I didn't include Ferris Bueller, because I feel like the fourth wall breaks is a whole other episode itself too. So, final opinions. My hypothetical question tonight is: what are your top 5 movie narrations? Like your top 5 favorites. So for me, it was Morgan Freeman as Red in Shawshank, Ray Liotta as Henry Hill in Goodfellas, Richard Dreyfuss as the writer in Stand By Me, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, and Peter Falk as the grandpa in Princess Bride.
Mine was Martin Sheen as Captain Benjamin Willard in Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
Morgan Freeman as Red. Richard Dreyfuss as the writer from, Ray Liotta as Henry Hill, and Charlie Sheen as Chris Taylor.
Nice.
Okay. Mine was Gene Shepherd in A Christmas Story as Ralphie grown up. Kevin Spacey as Verbal Kent in Usual Suspects. Ed Norton is the narrator in Fight Club. Morgan Freeman as Red in Shawshank Redemption. And Stephen Fry as the book, the guide in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I'm glad you guys chose some of the ones that I wanted to use but couldn't quite figure out how to fit them in my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I had a top 10, my top 10 would also include Charlie Sheen in Platoon, with Stephen Fry in Hitchhikers, Kevin Spacey as Verbal Kent. I would have included Ed Norton in Fight Club. And I probably would have also, like my 10th one would have been probably DiCaprio as Belford in Wolf of Wall Street, because that's a great fucking narration.
Yeah.
So, Mike, do you have any trivia or beer trivia or history or anything for us this evening?
I had some beer trivia for you guys tonight. Budweiser, Corona, and Kirin lagers are all brewed with rice.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was different.
How are your drinks this evening, gentlemen?
Very good. Very, very, very good.
Delicious. I appreciate these, Michael. They were fantastic.
You're welcome, sir.
I am out of Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster.
Oh, no.
How's your brain?
Probably a good thing.
So how is your brain? Is it the lemon twisted back with the brick?
It's okay. I haven't gotten smacked in the face by any of those like thought-provoking things that smack you when you think on the Vogon planet. But I'm okay. So thank you for joining us tonight for episode 96, which is all about narration. We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation for all of our social media and podcast links. Don't forget to stop by the Crossroads Between Pickled and Fermented next week as we present episode 97 in honor of Women's History Month. We're going to be talking about female characters breaking barriers. Characters like Sigourney Weaver as Ripley in Aliens, or Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs, the women from Hidden Figures, things like that. So women characters breaking barriers. In the meantime, I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Remember, folks, don't panic. And we'll see you next week for episode 97. Cheers.
Cheers. No. You go back to your history teacher and ask him who Frederick Douglass is.
Yeah. He was played by Morgan Freeman in the Civil War documentary. Oh, and I can't wait to tell you about the drink I have tonight.
Top and probably 3 headphones and 1 mic. Gotta get it all set up.
2
right.
turntables and a microphone.
Well, you gotta have the headphones or we're gonna get reverb off of him coming through the microphone.
I have headsets I can bring over. I mean, you
Okay.
have your own. I have a couple, so like Kevin and I can have them. And then, do you have outlets for all the headphones and the soundboard and stuff?
Yeah, I got something. I got something in the works.
So, Lee,
we can share
you
the
put
microphone.
the one ear on your side, and then we just have our heads together and put the other one on the other side.
Stretches very far,
Right.
yeah.
So all 3 of us.
Mm-hmm. And you'll be hearing the echo. Whoever's in the middle is going to get the echo through the other ears.
If we ever do production photos for our show, that should be it. The headphones that go across all 3 of us.
We can set something up. We can set something up that day. We can set something up that day. We go take a picture outside in Mike's backyard. I'm sure Katie would love to take the picture for us. It could be, or I was gonna say we should take a promo photo of us just wearing like barrels and nothing else, like the beer barrels, like the Three Stooges.
Everybody holding a bottle of something.
Yeah. All right. I don't have a good a quippy title for tonight. Like I didn't know what to say about narration.
I don't know. That's what she said.
Who was that voice?
Who was that voice? Or I don't know. I'm thinking of doing something in the description of the episode, like it all started 3 years ago when 3 friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit faced decided to start a podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to Films and Fermentation, episode 96. Tonight we are talking about films. Or I'm going to start that over again. We'll cut that out. We'll clip that and post. Let's try that again. My fucking mic is falling off again. That's the problem here. Cut, print,